Hey Watch Fam, thank you for clicking on my video. This is Jimmy from J Will Studios. Today we're going to be talking about Seiko's Captain Willard SPB153 Diver Interpretation. I believe this was a watch that was released in 2020, so about 4 years old. And Seiko have done quite a few different interpretations of this. They've released a couple different variants that were a little bit more limited, if I'm not mistaken. I believe the SLA033 came in at about $4,300 and it was only 2,500 pieces. The new Willard is not as limited. I believe you can get these if you want one relatively easy, and it's just a really cool, great tool watch. Before we get started, a few things. I want to do a quick wrist check. Today I am wearing my Oak & Oscar Humboldt GMT. This is a watch that I'll be doing a review on really shortly, and a really fun video that I'm super excited about editing. Really love this watch. A definition of a gotta watch, go anywhere, do anything. All right, so for starters, let's talk about the Seiko SPB153 Diver Interpretation, also known as the Captain Willard. I am just going to call this the Seiko Captain Willard. I have this on in the olive green variant with this olive green bezel that I think looks really amazing. As I said in one of my videos, this is going to be a special watch. I actually picked this up from a good friend of mine at his wedding reception towards the end of the last year. Got a really good deal on it, and it's going to have a great memory, something that's going to stay in my collection for a while. He's also the reason why I have the Seiko Presage with the Masha T dial in my collection. So both my Seikos attached to my really good friend, and wishing my friend and his wonderful wife a long-lasting, happy marriage. Jumping into the watch on the Seiko, and one of the reasons why I really wanted to add this to the collection, I'm a big Seiko fan, and I've had a couple come in and out of the collection. I've always liked the turtle style watches, and the Willard is, I think at the right price point with enough of the higher end finishes for a collector like me. There's nothing wrong with the base turtles. I don't like the big patty on the dial that they now have on the newer variants, but I do love the turtle case shape. So you get a 42.7 millimeter case, so it's not something that's necessarily small. I think it's a really good size watch, not quite 42 millimeters, but it wears extremely well, and that is because it has a 46.6 millimeter lug to lug, and that is just simply fantastic. So a big watch that can accommodate a lot of different wrists because of that lug to lug. You can go all the way down to 6, and I don't think this will look silly at all. I actually think this watch looks incredible on my 7.25 inch wrist. The watch is also 13.2 millimeters thick, and you're going to get 200 meters of water resistance. So not too shabby at all. 13 millimeters is definitely within range for a diver. In my opinion, the Omega Planet Ocean, even the original, came in at 14.5, almost 15 millimeters thick. So good job to Seiko being able to deliver a watch sub 15 millimeters as a diver and still keeping the water resistance strong enough for diving. You get anti-reflective coating on the inner surface. Again, Seiko really do listen to watch collectors. I have a couple watches where the AR coating has peeled off, and that has been really, really frustrating. Lume Bright on the hands. So the Lumen Bright on the hands, index, and the bezel. Again, Seiko is always have really, really great lume, and considering that this watch retails just a little bit under $1,100, you can find these on sale at a lot of different sites. Currently, I've seen one on a couple sites for around like $900 to $950. This is probably one of the best watches you can find under $1,000, considering the history that Seiko has, the quality in manufacturing. I think Seiko's only problem is that they have so many different watches at so different price points, or so many different price points. It can be really challenging to understand what you're buying without being able to do some research. So let's talk a little bit more about this particular watch, and one way is that you can really kind of help sort through what Seiko you're getting your hands on. So before I get into like the hands-on parts of the watch, this is the caliber 6R35. Seiko used this in a lot of different of their prospect lines. So starting off with the, kind of the lower entry level part of their prospect line, this is a upgraded version of their Seiko 5 movements, in my opinion. It has manual winding capabilities, and you also get a very impressive 70-hour power reserve. And your accuracy on all these movements is where it falls a little bit short from something coming from Grand Seiko or their higher end. It's only regulated between plus 25 to minus 15 seconds per day accuracy. So not a COSC certified movement of any stretch. However, both my Seikos are running well within range. This one I've had on a timograph, and it has been regulated down to just +3 seconds a day. My Save the Ocean is running a little bit slower at -8 seconds, but both those times I can live with. So I want to take a minute and zoom in on the dial on this particular watch, and this is probably one of my favorite features of the watch. That's probably the favorite feature of everybody's favorite watch. Is you're probably going to fall in love with the dial first. I really love this shade of green that Seiko chose to go with. It's like an olive drab green that I think really looks great. And then you get a slightly different hue on the bezel that really plays off nice. We get trapezoid style hour and minute markers at 12 o'clock. You get that double shield that is Seiko that is really known for. And just Seiko with the Prospect logo, automatic diver 200. So not a crazy amount of text. It's probably the average amount of text. I know we get worked up over that quite a bit. Some of the attention to detail things I love. I love the high polish going around the hour markers. And then I love that red lollipop with this unique trapezoid style second hand. This is a really unique counterbalance that I've only ever seen executed on Seikos. I really love this style second hand. When it's loomed, you get to see that it looks like a lollipop even though it's a little bit more unique. I also love that the hands are high polish, not necessarily anything fancy. These are very similar to the MM200 hands that you're going to find on a lot of the other different Prospects, but I do enjoy these hands. They get the job done. They're extremely legible with no fuss, and it definitely does add to the tool look of this watch. When I initially picked this up, I actually have it on an Erica's original, but I have been wearing it on this khaki alpine strap that I do think look really great with this particular color. And just because the way this watch wears, it just gives a different aesthetic from any other diver in my collection. Most of the bezels on Seiko divers are really crunchy like this, and I really enjoy it. The one on my Save the Ocean, I think I compare it to more like a Cadillac. It is super smooth. You can barely hear it. This one, you're going to get some crunch, and it feels like a watch that punches a little bit above its weight class. It is very well executed. You're not going to get a lot of polishing or detail on the case. You're going to get just this satin brush circular grain that I actually think looks great and really brings down the watch into more of this tool diving vibe. This is going for a look that this is just a very badass, very well executed, can take it anywhere. This watch is built to stand the test of time. Talking a little bit more about the case, as I said earlier, 42.7 millimeters. The other great call out, you get a unidirectional bezel and a rotating crown, because this movement can be wound automatically or by doing it by hand. So you get a manual wind complication where you don't have to worry about damaging your movement. That's it. Going to try to keep this video relatively short. Just wanted to talk about the Captain Willard, something I was excited to pick up and add to my collection. As always, thank you for clicking on the video. If you have not done so already, please take a moment to subscribe, drop a comment, and like the video if you enjoyed it. Recently, I've been looking into some of my analytics, and only about 3% of the people watching these videos are subscribed to the channel. It really does help. I want to grow my following so I can request bigger brands. I'm also just going to get to a place where I'm just going to talk about upcoming releases. I really want this channel to take on the look, feel, and vibe of us just sitting here talking about watches, what I think, because that's really what I love to do. So with that, thank you again. I got some more videos in the cooker, and I will see you all soon.